Okay, my background is a naturopath, so I've been in the industry over 15 years. While I was practicing as a naturopath, I realised a lot of people with weight problems didn't really know or weren't exercising correctly, so then I studied to be a personal trainer. Um, with that, and when I got people actually moving, I realised the value of movement, and I've always been then interested in the mind-body connection, the metaphysical part of our life. So now I sort of refer to myself as probably more of a healthy aging specialist with on the other side of 50, so it's sort of with life experience and with my background, my main role now in the inspiration is probably education, is allowing people to know what their true potential is and what their choices are with their health. So I do talks predominantly. I love doing talks on health, and I do ones covering thyroid health, cholesterol, hormones as we get older, what happens, and why do we suddenly put weight on? And a lot of people blame it because it's middle age, and it's not necessarily, it's just maybe poor management. And then I have a naturopathic practice, and I suppose I'm not a traditional naturopath in the sense of the experience I've had. So a first consultation with me will take about an hour and a half, and what I generally explain to people is I get you to look at your physical body right now, and that's sort of representation of your life up until this point. And if it's that manifestation of what you want and you're happy with your health and everything's going well, then stay doing what you're doing. But if you've reached a point in your life where maybe things aren't going quite as well, or there's other health issues that are coming up, what I do is look at the patterns and habits you've lived up until this point, how you're moving your body, what nutrition is, and then through the naturopathic guidance of iridology and body reading, I can look at maybe what patterns you might be locked into that we can maybe change and get you another. Okay, yes, not a typical naturopath. I suppose with my traditional naturopathic training, I would have someone come in, I'd go through their health history, genetics, do iridology, which looking in the iris, I might do blood analysis, which to me seems still very physical, and a lot of naturopaths are not trained in movement, and I believe movement is such an important I was going to say tool, but it's not really a tool. It's just an important way of communication with our spirit and our body, with how we're actually living our life. So if we have trouble with flexibility, we don't like moving, then that's a way of our body trying to communicate with us. And as we get older, we tend to get less flexible and more rigid in our thinking and in our body. So if we can keep that flexibility in our mind and our body, then it all goes hand in hand. So not traditional in the sense that I do really look at the human movement, and I look at all aspects of of someone's life rather than just nutrition. Poor thyroid. The thyroid, what I explain with the thyroid, it's part of the endocrine system, and it's super absorbent to a lot of toxins, radiation especially. A lot of us are holding mobile phones now, which the radiation close to this super sensitive endocrine tissue. Also, we have fluoride in our water, and fluoride depletes our iodine, which is such an important mineral for our thyroid. And then on a metaphysical level, we've got our heart here and we've got our head here. And the throat area is our seat of expression, where we actually be able to voice our opinion but actually express ourselves. So if we're torn between, oh, my heart wants me to do this, but logically, oh, I should do that, then often we will have struggle with the energy around this area. And a good way to sort of, I say to people is, you might notice when you go to speak, you might have to clear your throat or you cough. Then that might be just the way of you sort of not struggling with that energy centre. So when you think of that in the physical world, we're struggling with on a chemical, environmental issue, plus on such a huge spiritual level, we're changing how we actually communicate with everyone else in our environment, then it makes sense that the thyroid will be an area that a lot of people will struggle with. Generally, one consultation, maybe a follow-up, because my main aim is to help each person understand who they are and trust their intuition, get to know what foods they are, getting comfortable with their body. So if ultimately it's not coming back repeat after repeat, it's really getting good understanding. So maybe 1 or 2 sessions would be my aim. we've got different body types as well, and I can sort of go into different body types. And weight is not just about calories, it's not about the energy. So yes, a lot of people that seem to be, say, doing all the right things, exercising and eating quite well, but our physical body is also a manifestation of our thoughts, emotions, and how we actually hold on to energy. So it's also our relationship to that food that goes in. So if we're eating because we should eat a certain food, or we're eating quickly, or all these other factors, then we're not actually assimilating that food efficiently. So this is where it's so important to look at why you're eating, what's your relationship to food, and also someone may not be sleeping, they might be very stressed and not sleeping. It's actually been shown you can actually gain a couple of kilos over a few months by just lack of sleep, because the body needs to rest. So there's lots of different reasons, and also the different type of exercise. Some people going out for a run could be the worst sort of exercise for them because it's putting more stress on their body, and actually doing yoga or Pilates or even having a very good massage could be very nurturing for them to allow their body to work more efficiently and give their nervous system a rest. My book came about, thank you for asking, Ageless Vitality came about after probably years of being in the natural medicine industry. I've worked with some amazing professionals and I'm very, very blessed. And when I'm doing talks, people would ask me questions and I'd be saying the same thing. So I thought, well, if I put it all together, so the book really comes about looking at nutrition, our patterns, how we move our body, and just getting rid of the myths of certain things happen as we age. And we can have a vital, healthy life no matter what our age is, and that's the message I like to get out there. And the most amazing compliments I get from anyone who's read my book is that they feel inspired to get back on track with the health, or make the changes they want to do. Yes, in my book I actually talk about sexual energy, and it's sort of a taboo subject in our culture, but sexual energy at the moment of orgasm is actually we release nitric oxide, which is actually at the moment of when we're born. We actually release, so it's our birth into life, and actually it's what actually happens when we die. But the moment of orgasm, we're releasing this nitric oxide, so even if you're not trying to conceive a child, that life force is actually regenerating your own life force. So the moment of orgasm is actually really vitalizing, and you see the glow in someone who's in love, or they're with a partner, and their whole face, the whole body glows. And that's what true sexual energy is all about. So absolutely, true sexual health, or orgasmic health is vital for our vitality, no matter what your age. Iridology, that's a really good question. Many people go to an iridologist or a naturopath, and there's actually 3 forms of iridology. There's actually more, but there's Rad, which talks about the not emotions, more personality. Then you've got the Jensen, and then Ungra, which is more constitutional, which tells you what is in your family history. And the eyes actually reflect 3 generations back, just like our bodies do. So this is where we might have these quirky habits that our parents or grandparents might say, you just do that like Uncle George or Auntie Hilda or whatever it is, and you go, I've never met them. But these tendencies are in our cellular memory that actually can go 3 generations back. And this is where I hear too many times that sometimes an iridologist will look in someone's eyes and go, you've got this marker here over this part, and that could mean all sorts of problems. But unless that person is actually following that same tradition, that pattern of maybe that genetic trait in that family, their chance of developing that health issue might be 10% or it might be 100%. So that, I think the fact our eyes reflect 3 generations back is important to remember. So this is where we can actually change and not actually repeat genetic health tendencies, negative ones especially. Gifts of being tall. It's funny, people ask me, must be so good, big, tall, and I generally say to them, well, when you go on a long flight and you're in a cramped plane seat, it's the gift of being tall is not so good then. Or trying to buy long like jeans or pants is not so much of a gift. But I suppose getting things off cupboards or shelves, that's handy. Trying to be served at busy places, that's often handy because you can see above the crowd. But yeah, there's gifts in all sizes, so I don't think it's necessarily a gift.